Hi, everybody. It's Ruthie Bowers here from Richie Media, and I'm here this morning with Sue Fleckenstein from CreatefulJournals.com. And she's agreed to talk to me a little bit about her business and how she got started. And we're doing all of this for the upcoming low content bundle sale, which starts on April the 4th. So good morning, Sue. Thanks for being here.
Oh, good morning, and thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
Yeah, we don't get to chat very often, so I'm really looking forward to this.
Oh, for sure.
So I just have a couple of questions for you. First, if you could tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started working online.
Yeah, I got started. Well, actually, what happened was I used to actually build golf clubs for a living.
Oh, wow. I love golf.
So yeah, that's what I thought. You like that. I used to build the drivers, the Titleist to Cobra drivers, and then we got laid off. And I went on one of these government training courses, which was for a year. They paid you, to go. And then at the end, I graduated with a 98.9 average. So I thought that's really great. And then the guys turned around and said, you do realize you're never going to get a new career because you're too old to start anything new. And I was not even 50 at that time.
Oh, my.
So that was like, okay. Then, at the same time, my eldest son had just started high school, and yes, you had to have a computer. So we had to go buy a computer. We hadn't had one at that time. So we got the computer. Back then, I'm saying like 25 years ago, they were really expensive. And it was just like, okay, we've got this computer. He needs it for school, but at the same time, we can make money from it. So I just tried to find ways to make money. And two of my favorite things in school were write English. I loved English and I loved geography. And it's funny how, now that you look back on things, how they've kind of come full circle. And, like I create content. I used to write and I traveled a lot. So, it's funny how that all kind of comes together later on. So when I first started online, I was a freelance writer. That's what I started at. I found some sites where you could write articles, and and people then they were having the niche sites. They needed all like the little articles for their sites, and that's how I started. And I never really looked back. I hooked up with people like Justin Popovich, he's now the Tools for Motivation guy. When we first met, he was doing best quality PLR, and then he introduced me to Brad Goss, who I used to do a lot of freelance writing for as well. And it's funny because they're both Canadian and they both lived maybe like an hour away from me too.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I
Yeah,
knew
and
Justin
then
was
yeah, and then
Canadian.
from yeah, and then from there, I just again, it was like I was working with those two, and they were very nice, but they would like to say, "Wow, Sue, you wrote me that pack of content, and you know how much money I've made from it," and they would tell me, and be like, "Wow,"
Oh, my.
you know, and but they were nice. They were just saying in a nice way, like an encouraging way, like there's other ways to make money. And the one thing with freelance writing is too, like you only have so much time in a day to write. So you get to
Yeah.
a point where you cannot write anymore, because so you can't really increase your income unless you start really increasing your prices. But that's when all the, like who was it? Tiffany Dow at the time. She had a course come out about how to start your own PLR store. I took that course and I started doing my own store, and that's when I did the reports and articles, and got into that. And I did that for maybe 3 or 4 years. I ended up giving up the freelance writing. And that was actually very scary because, again, with freelance writing, I was writing for Justin and I had like my monthly income. It was a fixed income every month. I would write this. I knew I was going to get that money. And it was really scary to let it go. But I had to, because what happened at the time, my sister-in-law in the UK, she had got sick and she passed away. So I was going over there for her funeral, and it was like, I need a month off because I'm going there for 2 weeks, and I never went back to it. We just kind of agreed that I would never go back, and then that gave me more time actually to to focus on my own stuff, because I had my store, but I was always doing everybody else's content. I never had time to form my store. So that's basically like where I got started, how I got into the PLR field for the first few years there.
Wow. Um, Yeah. So you don't have that store anymore though now, right?
No, I sold it a couple of years ago. Yes.
Okay. So then you made the switch to the low content stuff. And
Yeah, I mean, I was doing a PLR, and what happened back then, it was again launching on JVZoo and Warrior Plus. And I knew like my content was good, but you just get to a point where there was a lot of other people out there doing these huge, huge packs, selling for $7. You can't compete, And honestly, I would buy some, I would download it, read it, and wasn't good English, it wasn't good at all. And yet they'd make 500-600 sales. And there you are with a lot better pack, and you just couldn't make the money. So it kind of got really, I just lost interest. I wasn't doing it. And it was a lot of work, like all the articles and the reports. And then it was like trying to find graphics and all that stuff to go with the packs, making these packs huge, selling them for $7 and hoping that you were going to make, hundreds and hundreds of sales. So,
yeah.
and then it was, what got me into the low content thing, the first time I saw something that really fascinated me, it was from a lady named Tracy. She was in Ireland, and she had done these magazines, and they had the flip through pages when they were converted to a PDF. And, so I was talking to her, and she was telling me she did them in PowerPoint. So that was like, oh, okay, we can use
Oh, wow.
PowerPoint for a lot more than just like a slideshow. And then that's how it got me into PowerPoint. And then it was just kind of at the same time, like magazines and journals were becoming popular at that time. So then again, it was like, why don't I do something like that? And I really liked the idea because, it was fun to create like a little, journal, put in the prompts or just, the tables, the calendars and all that kind of stuff. And at the same time, I had a lot, once I started to just go for it, I had a lot of people asking me, how to do it. And that's how my course came around in the end. But the very first product I did on that new store was my journal prompts monthly. And it's still going strong today.
I know. I think I've been a member since the start of it. I always tell everybody
Right.
that's one membership that I will
Yeah.
never give up.
Yeah. A lot of people have. It's amazing how many members I have from day one. They're still there. So
Yeah. Oh, it's an amazing package. I
it
just,
is. And I just did it. Yeah, I mean, it's changed over the years. At first, it was more the journal prompts. Then we've got the templates in there. But it's just a way to get people to actually buy from you, just so they spend some dollars in your store. And then, that way, then they start to buy more stuff. So it's just like an affordable, easy way for people to like get to know your content type of thing.
okay. So, I know we're both in Canada, and I know I face
Yeah.
some challenges working, within Canada with
Yeah.
different regulations and stuff. What do you see um, as challenges or to overcome having being an internet marketer in Canada?
The biggest thing is needing to sell in US dollars because I just don't think you're going to get the customers if you do sell in Canadian. I mean, I've never tried it, but anyway, everybody online seemed to sell in US dollars. So it just made sense to go with the US dollar on the website, which is fine. But it gets to the point where then we have to pay for things. Like we have to pay for autoresponder and hosting. All these services, they're all based in the US, so we have to pay in US dollars. And again, 3 or 4 years ago, I was just paying on my MasterCard or through PayPal. But, instead of my I don't know, subscription, say when we start out with ConvertKit, $30, it would be $45 one month. It would be $49 one month. Then it'd go down to be like, $26, all depending on the exchange rate. So I could never, like guarantee, I could never kind of work out what my expenses were every month because it was so up and down because of the exchange rates. So that was one thing. But then what happened was I found out through my bank that we can get it's called a US dollar bank account. It's not a US account. It just allows you to put US currency from places like Stripe into your bank account. That made a huge difference. First, just because then I could use that to pay for some things. Obviously, then having Stripe on the account made it possible for other people to use that if they didn't like to use PayPal. And then it just meant that I could keep some US dollars as US dollars instead of like taking it out into Canadian, and then I've got to convert it back to go pay my bills. So just having Stripe and that US dollar account was really huge. And then my bank told me I could get a US MasterCard. So I can actually use it. Like if we go to Florida or something, I can use it in there, but I can now, so now I can actually pay for everything on this MasterCard. So that has like pretty much eliminated those extra costs from not being based in the US and having to pay all the US prices for everything. So those two things were, really big things. Other regulations, it's like the emails, we have different regulations for emails. You have to do the double opt-in, things like that. So it makes it a little harder in some ways. But just the currency thing was, I really think that was the biggest stumbling block. And I hear from a lot of customers, we want to buy this, but I'm in Australia and go to buy something from, in the US, it's costing me, $15, $20 more, which it does. I mean, we've both experienced that as well.
Yeah. And I experimented a while back, putting my PayPal account with Canadian dollars as the default so that I could get a better sense of what I was paying every month. And the exchange was, because you get hit with the exchange and the currency conversion, because PayPal builds in, I think it's 2.5%.
Something like that.
Something like that as their currency exchange. So you never get a true rate of exchange, but you would pay the conversion fee to convert it to Canadian dollars when people paid you. And then if you had to pay anything, you paid a conversion fee again to turn it back to US dollars. So that experiment lasted about a month because we were losing so much money.
Oh no, I mean, in my PayPal account too, it's the default is the US dollars. And then, and then again, but having that, there's sometimes, so the main advantage for that, the good thing about when we take money out of PayPal, again, depending on the exchange rate, is, we can take out, say, $100, but you're actually getting $125. So
yeah, exactly.
You actually end up with more. So that's a plus. Well, it can be a plus till you come to taxes. And then that's the other thing I find because of the taxes, because everything I do is US currency. So at the end of the year, when you file your taxes, the accountant, she goes in there, they have to take a standard exchange rate and they exchange everything that you've made with this exchange rate. So you might think, whatever you've made that year, sometimes it can be $20,000, $30,000 more because of the way they have to do it. So that can affect what you think you've covered your taxes, and then all of a sudden it's like, geez, I got to pay more taxes.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I've always done my own taxes. And what I used to do is take the Bank of Canada daily exchange rates and manually for every day, manually convert every single transaction. And it would take me a month and a half to do my taxes because you can only do so much before you start to go cross-eyed.
Yeah, exactly. And then trying to do that every day, it's too much because you have all these transactions. It's like, when a payment goes through, you get like 3 or 4 different things come through from PayPal. So it's, you'd have to go, honestly, it would be a nightmare. You would need almost someone full-time every single day to do those conversions for you. And I mean, it can be done that way, but it's just easier. They just take the standard at the end of the year and you hope it's not too high. Like one time I did make a fuss about it because I said I never, ever one time in PayPal paid. I think it was like $1.29 conversion. I never paid it. So she put it down lower for me because I had, you have all your proof of what you've paid. So you can kind of work around it, but it's just one thing to know at the end of the year, whatever you make in US, you've got to change to Canadian, and then it becomes your Canadian income. And then you've got to, pay their taxes. And I mean, and I used to do it until about 3 years ago now, 4 years. The minute I had to start charging that HST for Canadian customers, that I didn't have a clue about how to do on the taxes. And then we had some other things go on, which just made our tax situation more complicated. So it's like, okay, it's time for an accountant.
Yeah, I've got one for this year for the first time, because January last year was when we had to start paying the HST. And I thought, I am not doing this.
No, and you got to do it right, and yeah, so you don't want to mess anything up.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think I think it was just like the currency is really like the biggest disadvantage, or not disadvantage, but the biggest thing to get around if you're not based in the US, but we're selling in US dollars. I mean, you know, and then while the email regulations, you just have to know what they are and make sure, and any changes that come through, because I mean, we'll have changes in our PayPal because we're with PayPal Canada, and they're not the same as the PayPal US or PayPal in Europe or something. So we can have different rules just because we're in Canada.
Yeah, there's certainly a lot to keep track of, that's for sure.
Yeah, sometimes it's too much.
Exactly. You almost need a business manager just to keep track of the regulations.
Yeah.
What else did I want to ask you? So what have you got going on with your store now? I mean, I know you just had a new
um,
pack come out this week.
Yeah, this new pack, we're trying to help people with the KDP. We did a family traditions like memory books, that type of thing that you can publish on KDP, and we did all the templates good enough for paperback and hardcover, because now you can do the hardcover books. And then we did our research, and that type of book is good for hardcovers. So people can try that out if they want to. And then for the people that didn't publish on KDP, we just made it into a printables pack as well. So people can buy either one, or they can buy both with the bundle offer that's going on right now for the next few days, and save some money there. And then next month, I have my big store sale because April is my birthday.
Awesome.
And
Happy birthday.
Thank you. I will be running 60% off for 60 hours. So you can guess how old I will be.
Awesome. That's quite a milestone. And that's a great way to do a sale too, because it gets people in. And
yeah. And I don't often do even the 50% one. So it'd be like, this is the only time, and next year I won't do 61%. I'll do something different. But I just think I'll do it that because there's more of a milestone thing. And yeah, and just have a nice big sale and see how it goes.
awesome. So I don't think I had anything else that I wanted to ask you. Did you have any questions you wanted to ask me?
I would love to know how you got started online, because I know we've met in person one time a few years ago. You were doing the coloring, I believe, but really, I don't really know much of your history either. So maybe some other people don't either.
Well, I started online in 1997, building websites for people. I had built a really crappy little angel fire site at the time, complete with all the flashing borders and animated GIFs and everything. And it was really horrible, but a bunch of my friends saw them and said, can you make us one? So I started doing that. And then I moved to the old GeoCities. And a couple of my friends were artists, and they wanted websites where they could try and sell their art online. And so I went from there and kind of bounced around building websites and doing VA work until about 2015. And in there as well, I used to be a historical researcher. So I had still kept a couple of my clients from my university days. So I was doing a lot of like land claims and residential school research and stuff, like, which is a really big deal up here. And I was helping out on a lot of that stuff. And I just gave up my final client there in 2017.
Okay.
But yeah, I tried to do the written PLR and I couldn't do it. It was just, and it wasn't even so much like that it was hard to sell. It was hard for me to write it because I didn't want to let it go. It was like, oh, I like that. I wrote that, I don't want to sell that.
Yeah, that's it. Use it for yourself instead.
Yeah, exactly. So I had a bunch of niche sites and didn't really get into much until I think I took Bill Platt put out that coloring book for adults course.
Yes.
in about 2015, I think. And that's when I got into the coloring. And I put 3 or 4
Okay.
books up on KDP that didn't sell very well, but I had made all my own patterns and stuff for them. And then I thought, well, maybe I can sell the patterns as PLR. And that was just about the time I think Maureen Oliver had started her store, and you were starting to put the journals and stuff
Yes.
in your store. And
Yeah.
then I think it was Sean Hansen came out with the course on how to make more patterns.
Yeah.
I
Yeah. I
think
think afterwards. Yeah, I think she did. And then, yeah, it was like how to do the mandalas and how to create them and everything else. And then,
yes,
yeah.
yeah, and that's when I really started getting into the low content,
Yeah.
and I just thought, well, I'll put a package up on Warrior Plus and see what happens, and
Yeah.
have really never looked back.
That's what I found too. Like with this the low content stuff. Once I started it, I didn't really look back. It has honestly made me a heck of a lot more money than my old PLR store ever did. And but the biggest compliment I get from my customers is um, I know how to use the templates. Like when you buy the packs of articles in the report, it's like, what am I supposed to do with this? How do I use it? How do I change it? But when they see like a template that they can add images, they can just change colors. They just say it's so much easier for them to actually know how to use the templates. And that's what they really like.
Yeah, I don't do a lot of journal templates. I do mostly coloring pages. So, but yeah, I've
Yeah.
actually working on something this weekend to get into my story. It's a bonus for something I've got going on this weekend. That is how do you take those really big packs with the ebooks and the articles and everything, and what can you do with them to repurpose them and turn them into your own products? So
Yes, and that's what a lot of people have been asking too. Because actually, I'm doing something similar to you as a bonus, and yeah, and I get a lot of that. We want to know, teach us how to use the products. That's a big thing that I find that comes out lately. Because now we've all been doing this for what, maybe is it 4 years? A good 4 years, I think.
yeah,
And so a lot of people that have been with us all these years, they've got a lot of content. It's the next step is how do I actually use it? And then how do I make money from it? So, that's kind of like the next little avenue to kind of go down, I think, too.
yeah, and I find every time I do like a live demo or a Q&A session, people have all kinds of questions like that. So I
Yeah.
really think that as much as like the live conversation makes me terribly nervous, um, it's something that I love to do and hope to do more of, because I think people really need that live interaction too. I think we've gotten to a point, especially with the last couple of years, that people need to know that we're real people on the other end of the.
Exactly. Yes. And that makes a difference too. And that's what I know I have to work on a bit more is like letting people get to know who you are. Like instead of, they know the store, but do they know who you are, where you came from, how did you start, all that kind of stuff. And putting your face out there too, because I mean, I would not have done this 2 years ago either. I wouldn't have got on this call with you.
I
Because
wouldn't
I
have
hated
either.
it. I'm still not 100% comfortable, but it's like I said, once you get talking, you relax and you feel better. But yeah, it's not my favorite thing to do. But like I said, when you're on there with your customers and asking you questions and you showing them how to do things, it's fun. I do enjoy it. I wasn't able to do too much of it before because we didn't have the best internet. We still don't, but it's a lot better than it used to be. So hopefully now, I can plan on doing some more like the live calls and trainings too.
Yeah, and at least PowerPoint tends to play well with Zoom. I know I've tried to do Photoshop demos and
Yes.
they're just craziness. Sometimes it works,
Yeah.
sometimes it
Yeah.
doesn't.
Exactly. And then what I find too, like if the live thing just doesn't go right, I just re-record like the main steps to show people how to do stuff. You just redo it and then put that up as a different video or something.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I've been doing too lately. I've got half a dozen left to go back through
Yeah.
and re-record the parts that didn't turn out right.
Yeah. Yeah. So the other thing I was going to ask you Actually, we can both do this. So for people that are listening and they're new and they've just bought the bundle and or what to do with everything, like what would be your best advice to give to somebody that's just kind of starting out, or it's people that are just struggling and they haven't made any money yet with the PLR? Like what would you advise them to do?
I would say first of all, don't let yourself get overwhelmed. There's like a lot. I think we're up to 35 products now for this bundle. So pick one and do something with that. You'll have 2 months to download everything. So pick the one that you like the most and start with that. And see the whole thing through, make your changes, get it up on your website, start selling it, and then move on to the next one. But don't try and do everything all at once, because I know there's a temptation when you're struggling and you want to make money to just throw everything at the wall and see what sticks, and that's only going to make you more overwhelmed and more stressed out if it doesn't go well. So if you pick one and start with it and stay focused on that project until it's done, and then move on to the next one. That would be my advice to somebody just getting started, and build your list.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that list is the biggest thing for sure.
Yeah. So what advice would you give somebody?
Yeah, well, basically the same thing would be like, so don't get distracted, because it's so easy to, like you said, you start on that thing and then something else comes through your email, whether it's a bundle product or another product. Oh, I'm going to try that. Then before you know it, you've bought 5 things that week and you haven't done anything with any of them. So it's like you said, it would be pick one, and if we're going to, on like from the bundle, with pick one product, go through it, see how you can change it into something that you can sell. And like you said, and just focus on it. And if even if you haven't got an Etsy store up or a Shopify store, approach it as though this is what is going to make me money. Because that's what I did when I switched. It was like I bought the new A member install, I bought the new domain name, everything is like I'm just going to go for it. And I think if you have that like approach in your mind to that, it's going to be you'll be a lot more successful. Not just like, oh, I hope this is going to work. It's like, no, this is what I'm going to do, and give yourself a good 6 months to do it, to get enough products up there. And then the other thing I would say too is that when you have some products up there, depending on if it's commercial use or personal use, like approach some people to be an affiliate. Even just say, can I give you a free copy? Could you look at this for me? I'll just give them some feedback, because I've done that for people as well, just to try and help them get started. But don't wait, because I know one lady, she's got a gorgeous website. She's got products on there, but she still doesn't think it's enough products to launch the store, and it's been going on for like 2 years. So it'd be like, just launch your store, whether you've got 1 or 2 products in there, and just start getting your name out there, make demos about how to use it yourself, and just try and start to be visible out there as well. But treat it like you said, this is your main goal, this is what I'm going to do, I'm just not going to bother with anything else but this business, and give it 6 months and see where you are then, and then you can go back and reevaluate it at that time.
That is excellent advice. Because you do have to focus. There is so much going on in the IM space. And even just in the low content world, I mean, you can do coloring, or you can do journals, or you can do prompts, or now people are getting into the Canva templates. And you can't do it all. You have to pick one thing, and I think anyways.
Exactly. Well, I mean, I think that's easy too, because I mean, I never really did get into the coloring stuff. So mine are just the journals and the planners. Like if I was to start a brand new store, if it was personal use, I would pick even like more like maybe even a niche thing. Like maybe I would just do some vintage journals and stuff like that. I've seen people be quite successful. Even just picking like a smaller niche and just doing all the journals and planners for that niche and put them on Etsy or something, and see where that takes you.
Yeah, I think I would do that too. I mean, there's a couple of niches that I've kind of kept my finger in over the years, and I would really like to do a personal use printable store to start.
Exactly. Me too. Yeah. And then give yourself time to try it and see what happens. But
Yeah, it's really
Yeah, I mean,
trial and
even for
error.
us, we can still get distracted. It is absolutely. And like you said, even for us now, when we get emails every day too, and it can be distracting. Oh, look at this thing, look at this, like, do I really need that for my business? It's like, no, just stay focused on what you want to do.
Yeah, I'm reading a book called The Gap and the Gain right now. Um,
Okay.
and one of the examples they gave in there was of the British rowing team and their decision-making process. And to get from like last place in one Olympics to winning the gold medal the next time around, um, he made every team member ask everything that they wanted to do. Will it make the boat go faster? So, you know, I've got an invitation to my buddy's birthday party. Will it make the boat go faster? No. Okay, I can't go.
Oh,
And that was their whole decision making process. And I thought, that works.
yeah.
So now I ask myself that every time something comes in, I think, oh, that looks great. Is it going to make me money today? No? Okay, forget it.
Yeah. Exactly. Or make you money or free up time in a different way that might be worth it. But I mean, I've seen a few things I was tempted with, but it's like by the time you take to learn how to use it and actually do it, and then is it profitable? Or are you better just to keep on putting, products out, do videos, do trainings, do some other stuff that will make you more money for sure.
Exactly. And that's it. And I think you have to do the money making tasks every day. Like it's so easy to get bogged down in all the little stuff that you don't actually
Yeah.
do the marketing part of it, which is what's going to make you the money.
Exactly. And the other thing too is, like, we all launch products, but don't forget that once they're launched, they can still make you money. So this is something that I want to focus on too, is go back in there to my products in the store and see, can I put them on sale? Can I bundle them up to get more life out of them, because they're all there. Some, I just had an email this morning. Well, I didn't even know you had this on your website. And it's like, it's there, but if people don't look, sometimes you just don't see what's in front of your eyes. You have to be shown this is here. So it's like, yeah, so definitely want to try and get more money out of the products that we've already got in our stores too.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's a lot of ways to make money with what you've already got. And it's
Yeah.
nice. I actually started to write a report the other day and I got distracted and haven't gone back to it, called How to Get Off the Hamster Wheel.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
but because it makes you feel like you never get to take a day off. You never get to, you know, you never get
Yeah.
to stop because there's always so much going on.
Yeah. But that's what I try to is, or like, not setting yourself office hours, but almost do, like, I try to be finished every day by at the very latest 4 o'clock. Today we're taking half day off because it's gorgeous outside.
Absolutely.
But yes, I mean, I can find myself on a Saturday or Sunday, especially in the winter, you come back to the computer, and before you know it, it's like, geez, I shouldn't be working on a Sunday. So you almost have to set your time off. And like, I used to be bad in the evenings going back and checking the emails. So when I'm finished, like before dinner, that's it. I'm not going back to check, until the morning, and then start. So, otherwise, like you said, you almost let your business take over your life. And you've got to
Yeah,
have, your freedom, your personal life. You've got to spend time, with your spouses and family and everything else too. Otherwise, it can become an issue there too.
that's true. Yeah, for me, the winter
Yeah.
is bad because I hardly move from my desk. But
Yeah.
now that it's getting warmer out, golf season is going to start soon, and
Yeah.
that's my thing, is like I like to be outside in the summertime. So I do as much work as I can in the winter so that I
Yes.
can take most of the summer off, except for the newsletters.
Well, yeah, and exactly, and that's what my goal is too. Like you said, you work now, and then we're trying to, even just plan ahead more so that you can still have, so people still know you're around in the summer, but we can be camping, we can go fishing, we can, go for walks. If we want to go, on a trip, we can do all of that. But your business still runs, while you're not actively working in there as well.
Well, thanks so much, Sue, for being here. I've really learned a lot about you and your business, and it was great chatting with you. And for those of you listening, I will get this up on the website shortly so that you all can have a listen, and we hope to see you at the low content bundle sale on April the 4th and Sue's birthday sale on April the 5th.
Starts April 5th to 7th. Yeah.
Awesome. Great. So thanks, Sue. It's been a pleasure chatting with you.
Thank you for having me. It's been lots of fun. Thanks.